All right, let's look at the homework 4, problem number 6. All right, so let's solve this inequality here. All right, and the first thing I would do is I'm going to go ahead and simplify or factor out the numerator. So this guy right here can be factored out as, so since both terms have x in it, so I'm going to pull x. All right, then you have x from here, and you're going to have 5. All right, so we have that. And then denominator, I'm going to keep it exactly the same. All right. All right, so I'm going to just name this guy. So I'm going to name this function f of x so that I can call it something. All right. Then I'm going to try to create a number line to find the solution set. So we're gonna have a number line here. All right, to find the tick marks, I'm gonna first set the numerator equal to 0. So I'm going to set this numerator equal to 0. All right. So we know that, let's see, when x equals 0, and also x equals -5. We have that. Right, so I'm going to put a tick marks for 0 and -5. It doesn't have to be scale, so I'll just put 0 here and the -5, so probably around here. Right. All right, then I'm going to just indicate that function f. So we have a function f. Right, since the numerator is 0 at the -5 and at x equals 0, function value is 0. So I'm going to just put a 0 here to indicate that function is 0 at those 2 points. All right, then we're going to set the denominator also equal to 0. All right, so we set this guy equal to 0. All right, so you see that we have x equals +2. All right. So I'm going to put a tick marks there. So it doesn't have to be scale. So I'm going to put 2 here. All right. So what happens to the function f when the x equals 2? Since that denominator is 0, so function becomes undefined. So instead of 0, I'm going to put ud just to indicate that it's undefined there. All right. And excuse me, the function is going to be either going to be positive or negative everywhere else. All right, so we just have to check some sample point. All right, so for the interval before -5, I'm going to try x equals, say, -6. All right, between -5 and 0, I like -1. All right, between 0 and 2, I'm going to try a sample point x equals 1. Anything bigger than 2, so I'm going to take x to be 3 there. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check those sample points to see a function is going to be positive or negative. All right. So the function f of x, I'm going to just write it down so that we can work on it. So you have x times quantity x plus 5 and divided by x minus 2. All right. So all we know, we want to know is the sign. We don't really care about the actual value. All right, let's check the sign. All right, let's try x is -6. So x is negative, so I'm going to indicate that negative here. All right, -6 times plus 5 is going to be still negative. All right. Then you have a -6 minus 2, so denominator is negative. All right. So negative times negative is positive. That's a numerator. Positive divided by negative is negative. So the whole fraction is going to be negative. So I'm going to indicate that on this interval, function is going to be negative. All right, so let's try -1. All right, so I'm going to kind of reuse that. So -1, x is negative. -1 plus 5, so that becomes positive. All right, -1 minus 2, that's negative. So negative times positive is negative. Negative divided by negative is actually now positive. So we know that we have a positive sign there. All right. So let's try x equals 1. right? If x equals 1, x is going to be positive. 1 plus 5 is positive. 1 minus 2 is still negative. So positive times positive is positive. Positive divided by negative is going to be negative. So this is going to be negative there. So we have a negative sign there. All right. So last one, x equals 3. X is positive, 3 plus pi is 5 positive, 3 minus 2 is positive, everyone is positive. So we know that it's going to be positive, right? So you can see that this inequality said that we want it to be greater than 0, which means another way it has to be positive. So we know that here, between -5 and 0, we get positive. And then beyond 2, we get positive. All right, then we can answer the question. All right, so I'm going to go here. All right, so solution expressed in inequality notation is, so we have to say x is between, so -5 greater than -5 and less than 0. Or beyond 2, right? So it's x is greater than 2, right? Let's check the answer. All right, we got that. All right, the same solution expressed in interval notation. So between -5 and 0. So we have that. So that's this guy right here. And beyond 2. So you're going to start from 2. And then you have go all the way to infinity. All right. So when you have a strict inequality, you use parentheses. And if it's inclusive, then you use brackets, square brackets. In this case, these are all exclusive, so we have all parentheses. All right, let's check the answer. We got that. All right, that's it. I hope that this was clear.